Hey, all, I wanted to share a couple samples of strategic roadmap images that you can use for kind of an end product or really giving a picture of the process that you're going through. This first one is a pretty simple kind of blueprint analogy, which is the idea of kind of building or constructing, the direction for your particular organization. This one is based on a primary care association, and you see the rooftop is the team's mission. This is why we exist, and really a kind of great purpose statement. And then if you go to the bottom, more like the foundation, these are the team values, who we are, and what are the things that matter most to us. So we would populate a mission statement or purpose statement in the rooftop, and usually five core values that go there, and it would be a word as well as a definition to help flesh out what the top five values are. And then you have the pillars section, and I didn't fill these ones in, but you can see on the left-hand side a list of potential pillars. These are really your top priorities, the specific objectives, as well as key results that would go in these pillars. So, for instance, you might put advocacy in one, training in one, communication, technology, and workforce. Those might be your pillars. Those would be your strategic priorities. And you would have a objective statement for each one of those, and then some key results that you would use to measure those. And that would be labeled in those pillars there. If you like that imagery or those concepts, you could present it in other ways other than a blueprint. Here's a second version. It's a similar process, really. You have the top line here. This is like the rooftop, the greater goal, or a purpose statement. This was a fairly qualified health center in Kentucky here that was moving to one location. So they were merging locations, and you have their vision statement or purpose statement really at the top there. The key priorities, instead of pillars, they went with targets. And you can see their three main targets or three main pillars were patient experience, teamwork, and then operational and clinical integration. They wanted to get away from like the house metaphor, so they went with the heart of caring and of caregiving. And you can see the targets are in the stethoscope. So that was their creative way of talking about a target, but putting some love to it. And then you can see they have an objective statement for each one of their key pillars, and then key results that flow underneath those. We generally call those OKRs, objectives and key results. Those are your strategic priorities with metrics and measurable results listed underneath. This group had already a set of values that were predetermined and not necessarily new for this project. So this one doesn't capture values, but you could place them in here as well. And then here's a third example. It puts all those together in a bit more of I guess we'll call it kind of a professional looking way here. And let me pull that up for you. So this is one that is the most comprehensive. It's actually the exact same process that I've done in the past with those other ones, but this just lays it out a little more cleanly and professionally. So this was the behavioral medicine department at West Virginia University. And this is their strategic plan. You can see actually at the very, very bottom is where they put their purpose statement. We actually used the house analogy to get to this point, but this was the product that they used to communicate it because the whole system used this format. So they have their purpose statement at the bottom, and they put their values at the top. So here are their top five values. So they did values at the top and purpose at the bottom. And then what you have here are their main three priorities or pillars, if you want to do the house analogy: workplace, innovative models, and community engagement, essentially. And then they have particular objectives. They put three under each one, and key results for implementation. And these key results, as you can see, have goals and measures to them, metrics that have dates. And eventually, you can also see they have sponsors next to them. So there's some names in each pillar area or short strategy. Each has a main point person. We actually ended up adopting that to co-facilitators or co-sponsors as well. as time went on. So that's their one pager, nice and professional. Actually, the whole system uses that. This is one department within the system. But I also want you to see that it kind of builds out from there. If you notice, this is the blue pillar. I think that's blue, might be purple, a little colorblind. But they took that pillar and then expanded it with a little bit more detail, a little more explanation on each one of those, including some resource needs. Usually resource needs are time, space, people, and funding, of course. So those are their, they do that for each section. It kind of blows out as far as implementation there. And then this is also really good work that they did. We took each one of those key areas, strategic priority areas, and the projects become on an implementation timeline. So we did it by quarter, and you could see their updates as we would go along. They would star them as we went. So this is probably about halfway through the year. First quarter looks like maybe they were, yeah, probably second quarter through June on this one. So you can see that they take each of their particular key results and key projects that were in the pillars, and they put them on a timeline and have people who are responsible for those and be able to measure those. So this is a nice visual kind of dashboard of all of those strategic plan options. You can create a lot of that work in Excel as far as columns and pillars, and then maybe the graphical work. I think what's most important is that the look and branding fits your organization. It resonates with people there, although those key components of mission, value, purpose, values, and priorities with projects are going to be the bulk of the one pager. I hope that helps. And of course, some people will also back it up with Word docs, that kind of thing. But essentially, that's what you're looking at. Hopefully that helps and gives you some framework of how to move forward.
Hi, Sam. Hi, Jeff. Hi, Amy. Wanted to share with you a strategic plan format that has worked with many, many clients that I've worked with. So it works extremely well when you start with the opportunity tree like we are, and we can leverage what is currently in the ideal state and action plan in a way that we can share with the organization. So this concept of a plan on a page was originally from a Gartner best practice and revolves around having the overall goals and then business objectives, strategies, supporting tactics, and measures. So this idea that you can visualize a plan very easily on one page for your organization to have alignment. We also use a tool called the Stellar Canvas for the actual implementation plan. And this is based on some agile techniques where we have a starting position. So one of the strategies, we have a starting position and the ending position that we know we want to achieve. We map the actions in and also as sprints with reviews built in. So this approach is fairly straightforward and would be easy for the various teams to implement. Here's an example of how a finished one from a client. Here you can see that there's an overall goal in terms of sales. And then we took objectives and we broke those into strategy, tactics, and measures. So for example, in our strategic planning session, the first day, we will have the goals, objectives, strategies, and tactics. And then we can use the second day in order to further refine the implementation and measurement. So the how-to of the Stellar, we have some very easy ways to explain this so the implementation teams can easily do this on their own, and it's easy to also keep up to date. Here's a quick example that's very simple, but it was a client who does motivational interviewing currently for governmental organizations and wants to break into the school market. So here are some goals. We're at the top, actions to meet those goals, and then we map those into a plan on a page. where we were able to identify objectives, strategies, tactics, and specific measures. Then this was for one of the overall objectives. We had a starting position and an ending position, and we were able to quarterly track how we were doing against these goals. So this is just another option in addition to the ones Mike shared. So please let us know which resonates with you, and we can also combine them. So wanted to give you lots of options so you could decide what resonates before sharing it with the board. Thank you.